So let's talk about how this disaster ensues, because it ensues very early, as I was saying. See, human beings are supposed to be born, human beings are born, I should say, immature. We come out of the womb immature. Nature has set it up that way because we got big heads, and it's difficult enough, as you guys can probably attest to, some of you in this room, right? It's difficult enough as it is, let alone if the head got really big, right? So nature has set up a system where the baby comes out of the womb early. However, what ends up happening is nature has expected a certain situation where the baby's digestive system and immune system will grow postpartum after the baby comes out of the womb. Nature has set that system up. We call that system breast milk. That's what breast milk is. Breast milk is nature's way of growing a baby's digestive system and immune system. However, babies are not breastfed. Or if they're breastfed for short periods of time. Or if they're breastfed for short periods of time, or for longer periods of time, they're breastfed from mothers who aren't healthy themselves, if they're even breastfed at all. So 30% or so are not breastfed. You throw in the rest of them, you're looking at 50, 60%. Babies are supposed to be born, when babies come out of the womb, they get coated with bacteria, right? You got the cap and all that stuff, and all that bacteria goes in the baby's mouth. Today, 33% of babies are born cesarean. They don't get that. Okay? And in Hollywood, the latest trend is, I don't know if you guys know this, is to have a forced cesarean. So you don't have to get scarred. So they'll take the baby out early. Because, of course, the doctor will tell you, you don't need to worry about any of that. Cosmetic cesareans, yes, that's the latest rage. All right, it's in Hollywood. It'll soon be, it's not even, it's coming out into the public now, too. The bottom line is for the vast majority of us, especially if we were born in the 40s or 50s or 30s or 60s when we didn't know any of this stuff, or we didn't respect any of this stuff, and that covers all of us pretty much, right? We come out of the womb compromised immediately at the digestive system level. This is a major, major, major disaster to the body. Major. Because the digestive system is how everything gets into the body in a good way or in a bad way. It's how the good stuff gets in, and it's supposed to get into the blood. It's how the bad stuff gets in, and unfortunately goes through the blood. So once we break down at the digestive system level, which happens immediately, we're in big trouble. The next step from there is the blood sugar system. Once the digestive system is compromised, the blood sugar system, how we handle sugar, becomes compromised. And this occurs very early. They call that technically diabetes, right? You've heard the term diabetes, I'm sure. Okay. Secondly, it's purely a choice lifestyle disease, purely eating disease, period. It can be turned around. They say, oh, can you cure diabetes? No, you don't have to cure it. It's not a thing. It's a process. You have to do it every day. You have to live diabetes. You have to be diabetes. Stop doing it, you don't have diabetes anymore. That's a whole other story we'll get into in a little bit. The point is that the 2 points of breakdown that occur shockingly early are the digestive system and the blood sugar system. Once the digestive system breaks down, that causes things to get into the body that shouldn't, into the blood that shouldn't, because the barrier between the digestive system and the world is really the barrier between you and the world. Because the digestive system is not you. Did you guys know this? Your digestive system is separate from you. It's a tube in your body with its own brain. Try not to vomit sometime. Okay? It has its own brain and its own will, whether you like it or not. You know? Try to hold that in if you know what I'm saying. It ain't going to happen. You might have a certain amount of willpower over it, but it's got a brain of its own. No, I'm not kidding. It's called the enteric nervous system. It's called your second brain. And it is a brain. And it overrides the rest of you. You can't not vomit. It overrides. It's more primitive, more primal. And why the digestive system is so important because it's your juncture, it's a gateway, it's a hallway between you, which is the blood, and on the other side of the digestive system, and what you put in your body. And it's a good thing we got that, right? You don't know what you're putting in your mouth. Back in the jungle days, we're sitting there eating on the African savannah. Not everything's edible. You got to have a system. So you have a major gateway into the body at the digestive system level, and it's critical, job number one, that system it maintains its integrity your entire life. I'm not a food Nazi. I'm not a food Nazi. I'm not some Gary Null health guru guy that does juice all day. That's not my point. That is not my point. My point is logic if you're diseased. Do you understand this? Logic, simple, pure, simple logic if you're diseased or if you're unhealthy in any way, shape, or form. We have to get this idea that there's good food and there's bad food. I'm a bad person, I'm a good person. And, oh, you know what I'm saying about the food idea, this idea in our world about food and psychology and emotions, and it's just bad science. Strictly from a clear-cut health science perspective, the juncture between you and the body is job number one to maintain. If you're not as healthy as you want to be and you want to find a trunk or a root to that tree, that's it. Do nothing but that and you'll improve. Do nothing but that and you'll improve. And I'll tell you how you do that here in a minute. The second system that you want to address is the blood sugar system. Once the blood sugar system goes awry, you don't handle energy effectively. And everything's energy. Being healthy takes energy. Being happy takes energy. Having your body in the correct muscular condition takes energy. Cells doing their work take energy. Everything takes energy, and your blood sugar system is the key to energy. Once your blood sugar system is messed up and your digestive system is messed up, you're in a world of hurt. Once the blood sugar system goes awry, you don't handle energy correctly. One of the worst things that can happen to the body from a survival perspective, remember we're talking survival here, ultimately sympathetic nervous system, one of the biggest emergencies to the body is a lack of energy. When your energy system is messed up and you eat food and all of a sudden all that sugar gets sucked out of your blood, which is what happens, and you go and feel dizzy and woozy, immediately that's an emergency to the body and it activates your emergency system. It's all starting digestive, you guys. And then it's working blood sugar, and then it goes into your energy, your emergency energy system, your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands, your emergency energy system, is connected to your regular energy system. There's a communication between emergency energy and regular energy. And when you're running on emergency energy all the time, eventually regular energy slows down to compensate. Emergency energy is the world of the adrenal glands. Regular energy is the world of the thyroid. Once you're running on this hyperadrenal energy, lots of the hormone called cortisol, which maybe you've heard of, because your blood sugar system's whacked out, because your digestive system is whacked out, once your adrenal glands are kicking in and kicking in and kicking in, you get this jittery energy where you're tired, but you can't sleep, and you wake up at night, in the middle of the night, you can't go back to sleep. And these are all manifestations of the hyperadrenal response. For women, menopausal symptoms, hot flashes, anxiety, jitteries, those are classic examples of a hyperactive adrenal gland. Eventually, the thyroid slows down. Guess what we would call that? Call it hypothyroidism. And your doctor's like, well, we don't know. Just everybody gets it. That seems to be. No. Of course everybody gets it, but you don't have to get it. It's a response. From the time the thyroid breaks down, you're off to the races. You can't control anything. There's nothing you can control because the thyroid regulates everything. And then you'll go have a leaf here for heart disease, and you'll have a leaf here for bad skin, and you'll have a leaf here for an autoimmune disease, and you'll have a leaf here for cardiovascular issues, and you'll have a leaf here for blood clotting, you'll have a leaf here, and they'll give you a drug, and a drug, and a drug. Oh, we'll remove the organ here. And then we'll have a drug, and we'll drug, and drug. Oh, we'll irradiate this. You know, that's how it's done. Do you see the stupidity of it all? And the tragedy of it all? It's one of the greatest tragedies in the history of mankind, what we're dealing with from a medical model perspective, when you set it against what we can be. So it all breaks down shockingly early. It's all secondary to a stressed nervous system. Understanding how to activate the so-called para-relaxation nervous system is your key, and there's a lot of ways to do it. There's a lot of ways to do it. In fact, if what I just described to you is the triangle of disease, there is a square of health. The triangle of disease is the digestive system, the blood sugar system, and what I call the adrenal thyroid complex. That's all you need to know about disease. I don't care what it is you're dealing with. I don't care what it is you're dealing with. Don't even pay attention to the name. At any given moment, just like you're in stress mode, or you're in sympathetic nervous system mode or parasympathetic nervous system mode, you're either stress mode or relaxation mode. Right? At any given moment, you're either building or breaking down. At any given moment, you're either building or breaking down net. Your body is constantly building and constantly breaking down. Both are happening simultaneously. Build up, break down, build up, break down. In science or in chemistry, we call it anabolism, catabolism. Anybody ever heard of anabolic steroids? Anabolic means building. Catabolic means breaking down. At any given moment, you're either anabolic or catabolic. It's like you're doing both, but at any given moment, net. It's like in a business. You're always spending money, making money, spending money, making money. How many of you guys have a business where you're spending money, making money? It doesn't matter what you're spending and making. It matters what? The net. No matter what you're spending, you want to be net positive, right? Likewise in the body, net positive. You want to be in the black, right? Net positive. Body's the same way. The body's the same way. It wants to be net building, not net breaking down. If you want to know what net building, net anabolic looks like, look at a little kid. That's a kid whose business is thriving. That kid's business is in the black deeply. That's a great business. In fact, that business is so good. We look at little kids and we're like, holy moly. Do you ever do that to a little kid? You just are blown away. What you're seeing is the bodily equivalent of like IBM or McDonald's or some huge company, huge corporation. It's so in the black. It's making so much money. Then, as you get older, not so much. In fact, as we get really older, eventually we become diseased, which is the visible manifestation of being in the red. So all we got to do is we got to figure out how to get in turn the circle. We got to see the bodies can turn on a dime because this is a process. You're not diseased. You have diseasing. Diseasing is a verb. You see the difference between a verb and a noun? What's the difference between a verb and a noun? A noun is a thing. It's how it is. I have diabetes. It's in my hand. I have it. See? I have it. I have it. It's a thing. I have it. That's it. It's actually not just in my hand. It's stuck to my hand. It ain't coming off. I have diabetes. I have diabetes. You'll see it on TV all the time. These are messages that we get. I have psoriasis. I have whatever. You don't have it because you see, you have to keep doing it. It is a process. This is a beautiful thing because it means when you stop doing what you're doing, you can turn it around. It's like that old joke where the guy goes to the doctor. He says, "Doc, it hurts when I do this." What does the doctor say? "Stop doing that." Right? So it's basically that's what it is. So we got to start to understand that we have access to this thing because this thing is not a thing. It's a verb. It's a process. If you're running, you stop running, and you don't run anymore. Running's not a thing. I love the word institution. Institution means a thing. This is a problem with our institutions. They're not responsive to situations. They're not responsive to environments. HMOs are disasters. You guys, if you're even remotely on the fence of a nutritional supplement program, your alternative at the HMO, I'm telling you as a pharmacist, I'm telling you as a healthcare professional, you don't want to go near that. An HMO is when they go to a book and decide what you need based on what the menu has. You think I'm kidding you? It's a menu. And if the menu says surgery, guess what? And if the menu says a drug, whatever, guess what? That's the menu. That's not what you want. You want to have something that's responsive to you. So here, let's cut to the chase here. If you have a triangle of disease, that's digestive, blood sugar, and adrenal thyroid, you have a square of health. Your square of health is how we can take control back. Now, I should tell you at this point, because I touched on it a little bit, but it's very important to recognize, and I don't want to belabor it, but health and wellness are really multi-dimensional. It's like a four-part system: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. And we're going to spend time talking physical here because I like the physical part of it. It's very fascinating to me. And it's the most personal to us because at the end of the day, our most fundamental aspect is physical. If you hurt, somebody cuts your leg off, you're going to feel it. You can't get around that because there's an organismic nature to us. So it's very important to recognize this. But at the same time, you've got to be thinking correct thoughts, you've got to be feeling correct feelings, and you've got to have some kind of access to the channel. You've got to know that you're one with the force or God or divinity or Jesus, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's not the point. The point is that you know you're whole. And that's very important. But I just want to say that. I don't want to belabor it. Because really the physical problems that we have, that whole stress problem, that whole survival problem is really a lower version of emotional stress and mental stress and ultimately spiritual stress. So it's really all the same thing showing up on different levels. See, it's not even stress so much as we just don't know that we're going to make it. And that really comes down to what this is all about at the end of the day. If you want to have a great business, if you want to have a great relationship with your husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, if you want to have a successful life on any level, if you want to be, whatever you want, there's one thing that we need to communicate to each other or to whoever we're relating to. I told Nasima one time. Remember, Nasima, what I said? This is the ultimate thing that we all want. We all want this. You ready? This is what we all want. We all want to feel safe. It's what we want. All we want. And likewise, our bodies are the same way. Our bodies want to feel safe. Our bodies want to feel like everything is copacetic. That's how our bodies want to feel. I was kidding earlier. I said God wants us in a hot tub. That's what a hot tub tells the body. That's what certain things that we can do in our life tell the body. That it's safe and that it can access, that it can marshal, harness resources towards building things. That it doesn't have to worry about survival. It can harness all of its energy towards growing more nerve cells and bone cells and building the immune system and strengthening the body. That it's not in survival mode. So anything we can do that is going to be in our interest, and there's lots of things. I touched on a hot tub. Immersion therapy is awesome. That's what it's called now, immersion therapy. I call it hot tub. Immersion therapy. You know, that's the fancy schmancy name. I've been saying this for years, okay? I've been saying this for years, but I just started reading this in papers, academic papers, immersion therapy. Yeah, take a hot tub, get in a hot shower, take a bath, you know, right? Isn't that funny? Just get up, whatever. By the way, what does that tell the body? What does immersion therapy tell the body? Water or hot tubs? Ah, right. But what does it really tell it? What's our favorite place to be, where we all want to be? The womb. The womb. It says you're in the womb. You know what? If it gets really bad out there, you'll go into a fetal position. You'll be like, I don't care. I know I'm not in the womb, but I can pretend. You know, I don't want to see anything. Right? That's where we all want to be. And you know what? It's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. It accesses your healing system, your parasympathetic nervous system. It harnesses everything we love about life. You know, we have these silly strategies. I'm reading this book now, which I totally forgot the name of as I'm talking to you here. I'm always if I ever lose a book, it's always a disaster because I don't remember the name of it. And I don't remember the name of this book. But it talks about how one of the biggest problems we have in our lives is we don't know where to place attention. We're always placing attention on the crappy stuff. Have you noticed this? There's all this great stuff, okay? I'm not being Pollyanna here, but just logically, there's all this great stuff. But what do we focus on? The crappy stuff. Why? What's that? But you got all this great stuff. When you go to see, that's right, we think we got to fix it. It's hypnosis. It's a trance. It's a way to disempower us, and it's perpetuated on us by institutions that are selling us things. Keep that in mind. There's a power structure in place that doesn't want to lose its turf by revealing the secret to you. That's why your prescription's in Latin. Have you ever noticed? Your doctor don't speak Latin, trust me. You know, they want you to think he's like some Latin wizard with the hat, and he's like in there with do the alchemy thing. Please, he's looking out of a book. Acne, diazide, 1-QID, Latin. Anyway.